Hello, welcome to another review of something different. As you can see, it's a Heljan. As you'll already know, if you've clicked on this, you'll know what it actually is. There's the proof. As you can see, a Class 23, D5901, and it's the small yellow panel. It's of the Railway Test Centre, as far as I know. I think that's what RTC stands for. Anyway, you can see the batch number's 2304. I shall remove the box out of the way. Okay, and by the way, it's quite a big box for the locomotive in question, which I'm now going to bring into view. Here she comes. Slowly but surely. Don't want to hammer it round. Here you go. And then she's clearly in shot. There we are. Right, smashing. Okay. Now, there's been a bit of history with me in this locomotive. Recent history, that is, since the thing came out. As the model generally goes, I wasn't going to bother. Now, there's a simple reason why, which I'll now demonstrate you. Sorry about moving this all around, making you all queasy. It's over here. Now, I'll put you on pause, and then I shall show you a picture quickly of an example of a real 23, and then explain to you the difference. Okay, so hang on a second, pause, and resume. Here we are. Now, this is a picture taken by John Glover, who happens to have actually compiled the book that we're looking at here. Picture from it. This is a Class 23 in 1968. Happens to be D5905, one of the sisters of our friend. Now, clearly, when you look at the locomotive here, you can see, first of all, that the head code is much, much bigger on here. Hang on a second. There you go. As you can see, there's our model, and the head code is a lot different. By the way, this metal thing in the background here, if I can get your finger and show it, that's not sticking out of the locomotive. It just happens to be the angle. Yeah, so that was the thing that really put me off to begin with, and I thought to myself, well, you know, this is quite a big budget for what is technically an 8-wheeled diesel. Quite a hell of a lot of money when you work out how much a Bachman would cost at about the same time. Also, I mean, looking up there, can you see the head code? You can't make out in between, or the fact that there are white lines between them, and it doesn't really look like one T21. There are white lines between the numerals and characters, and it doesn't really do it any favours. On the other hand, the model itself is tremendous, and you cannot fault the weight of it. Its presentation inside the packaging and everything. The colours on it are tremendous. They really are nice colours, and you know, the roundel over here, British Railways crest, what you want to call it. There's a panel code under here which you won't find on the general production ones. Things like 5903. You won't find it on 5905 actually. I think that's the blue one. There are various variations, but you will find that they sold out of the small yellow panel one quite quickly. Now, the nice thing is, and I'm pleased to say this, that the small yellow panel really does hide a lot more of the faults. So all you're seeing is this fault here. What you aren't seeing is when you actually buy a full yellow nose one, you are getting one hell of a nose. I mean, it really, I'm sorry if this is going to sound disrespectful, but it really does have the look about it from the front of a certain well-known singer from the sort of 60s and 70s with a rather large nose. I'm sure you can work out who I mean if I mention the letters B and S. Or, in fact, more recently an actress by the name of S, J and P, well noted for a well-known American sitcom, if you can call it that. and it really does have a face about it that you just cannot miss. A really long face on it. So, you know, there have been problems. People have noticed these windows up here are too small. So, but there's, you know, this is looking at all the negatives. I want to get all the negatives out of the way because I want to really concentrate on the positives. So I've just mentioned the badge. But this thing weighs a ton. I hasten to add here at this point, this thing weighs a ton. And I swear to God, I don't think Heljan make light engines. They do not make light models. I've got over here, I've got a model of a Class 26. It feels like half the weight of a house brick. It's incredible. Kestrels over here. I have Kestrel out because my son adores Kestrel. It was, in fact, if I go over my Heljan history, Kestrel was the first one I bought. I bought it second hand, and it was actually not used. So I was buying a brand new locomotive that had only been owned once before by somebody else and been returned or sent on to somebody. So I'd found it classified as a second hand model, technically brand new. So I didn't pay the full whack you see Kestrel models going for currently. Not even with Hatton's reduced price. It's still cheaper than mine was still cheaper than Hatton's. Ironically, of them, the prototype, the Class 53 Falcon, I bought in the blue livery. Mine was a pristine one, which seemed to be a lot earlier on, and I was very lucky to get hold of that, pre-owned by somebody, and excellent condition, excellent stuff. The only one I've really bought from, say, brand new, other than the 26 and this, is my Lion. And I would actually say that when I was drifting towards things, by the time I got Lion, I was really starting to get disappointed with them. Actually, I hasten to add that the reason being, I'm one of these people who doesn't like the detailing on the front. I know there's a lot of you guys out there who do, and you can see I've left the detailing on this particular model because I couldn't really face the idea of desecrating both ends. I've done it with a lot of the other models, with Lion, so far. With Falcon, funnily enough, and Kestrel, Heljan were very kind enough to supply us modelers who don't really want all the front detailing put on there. They were able to supply us dummy buffer beams and dummy things to simply swap over. That's what I love about Kestrel. Out of all the Heljan products, I think Kestrel's probably the best of the lot. They didn't do this with Lion, and I think that's a bit of a... I thought I was a bit unfair, really, under the circumstances. Those of us who don't want to sit there and hack our models to pieces are expected to hack our models to pieces if we want to run couplings at both ends. Now, my Lion, my Kestrel, and this are all going to work on a preserved line where there isn't a facility necessarily of a turntable. The people who run in the line aren't necessarily going to get access to it, so they have to run end to end. And do a basic run around, come back again. Tragically, you know, it's going to be a case of me having to take a knife to all this at the front, and it does look so nice. It's such a shame. I may just be able to get away with one or two. I haven't hacked away too much at the back end of this one. If you permit me to just do this. And set her down very gently on the tracks. Oh, there's something to bear in mind here. When you're holding the bogies on this, be careful. You can feel the laddering move a little. But yeah, as you can see, I've left a few things there on board. And the rear numbering, by the way, is 0T25, which you can't make out on here. As I say, I think the decoration-wise, this model's fabulous. On the top, there's an etched fan. You can just make that out quite nicely. I can see that through the footage here. Lovely with the red warning flashes. Excellent touches. One on the front here. I'll just get you down in there where you probably saw it. Fuel tanks, dots on there. Especially, and you guys won't be able to make that out if I can just get it to the right. Yeah, you might just see the little marks along there. They're not rivets, they're holes on the very bottom between the wheels. They are holes. And they were obviously put in, for those of you who don't know, but those of you who do, just ignore. For those of you who don't know, those holes were put in to the bogies to reduce the weight to them. so that they were allowed on rails. It's a wonderful model, and it doesn't just, you know, you flick a switch and away it goes and what have you. It builds up slowly, you know, with the twiddle of the knob. It builds itself up slowly, and it pulls a ton. It really does pull a ton. I've not actually tested its full capacity, but as far as I see it, it pulls 6 coaches. That's me happy. She doesn't have to go, doesn't have to be Jeff Cates. You might not have seen that coming in. If I were to cast the shadow, you can clearly see the light there. Off she goes. Flow the switch back. You can't really see that from there. Now, if you'll forgive me again. Now, this is where I've got to be very clever. I need 3 hands here. Right, okay. Okay. Can you see red lights? No, you can't, can you? Oh. You just saw some red lights there. They're very dull, I'm afraid. Heljan's lights they do have this problem. There we are. And she goes round. Very controllable. Very controllable. Nice job. Couples up nicely without any faffing around. Here she comes. And she'll pull a real growl about it, actually, which I like. It reminds me a little bit of my old Spam Cam 37. Now, I do have to thank a certain gentleman, EWS 60008, who did a review of a green one. I think he's had the double arrows. It's full yellow ends, double arrows. And he did a fantastic review of this some months ago, of this model. And I wasn't convinced. I don't like the car, you know, I don't like the small head code, blah, blah, blah. And he said, well, you know, he hasn't run it on anything big, but the combination of him and of Jules, Metadine Man, on YouTube, it was Jules who certainly convinced me and said, look, you know, this pulls really well. If you turn your chance down now here, just, you know, you're going to regret it. If you half like the model, don't hesitate, go for it, because you may find that it'll disappear from production, and you'll think, oh, you know, I'd really like one in a particular, you know, particular colours. That would have gone first, and then I'll be stuck with a yellow-ended one, which I didn't really like in the first place. So I went for it, you know, and I bought one. You can't find one second-hand. It's impossible to find one second-hand. I think those that want them are after them, and will keep them. But it's a wonderful mover for its size. I think, you know, your problem is its cost. I think the first thing that hits you is its cost, but it is quite a lot of locomotive. I think if it was 20 quid cheaper, I think there'd be no hesitations with it. It's you know, it's more than an ordinary Bachmann Deltic, and a Bachmann Deltic will shift a similar amount. But for sheer novelty factor, and I thought, well, I'm going to find an excuse and make an excuse to. I will find a reason for owning one of these, and I'm glad I did. I can't knock it. And I say I've not actually found as yet a fault with any Heljan locomotive that I don't like one particular one. They've got the plus points, they've got the minus points. Overall, I think all 5 of them are Heljan models, and Chemist Kestrel, that's what Alfie calls it. Sorry, Kestrel is a lovely model out of all 5. You can't fault that. That's probably the best of the lot. Again, a few errors. This is what somebody had said. You know, there's errors with Kestrel. You just got to overlook that and think to yourself, well, you know, look, at least somebody's bothered to make them. So, yeah, it can't be faulted. Now, as you can see, this thing's actually pulling, and I've just realised I'm counting here. It's actually pulling 7. It pulled from a straight start, without any arguments and any fuss. Now, I'm just bringing it around, and then we'll put you on hold a second. Reasons are I won't go into just yet. Here she comes. You can hear it growling as it comes to a halt. Here we are. One second. So if you're somebody watching this and they think overall, well, do I buy one or not, mister? The answer is yes. If you want a really mighty Bobo, if you want to put one of a better phrase, B-O-B-O, what do you want to call it? If you want a mighty little four-axle diesel that'll pull, well, you know, quite a lot, then trust me, you know, you want to look at this, because this train has only just gone into there. It's only just coming out of the tunnel, and move you back a bit. That's only just emerged from the tunnel, and as you can see, that goes a fair way. You've seen the length of the train already. Yeah, superb machine, and I think it's when you watch it and hear it and performing, and you know, see what it's doing, buzzing along. You think to yourself, do I really care about those minor detail problems or major detail problems in the end? No, you don't. So. You know, it costs twice the price of two class 25s. You could put a pair of 25s on there and you think, well, I've got 2 diesels out of this. Yeah, fair enough, but she's a mighty model, believe me. In terms of weight, you could do an awful lot worse. So, there we are. Right. Okay, well, I'm not going to blether on anymore because I've just realised how far I've gone into this. Next time round, I'm going to move back to Hornby and back to steam. I will then move on possibly to Bachmann and steam, which I shall get round to. And the latter of those 2 steam engines, I'll give you clues. They're both red. They're both Midland, or LMS, ex-LMS one way or another. Not a field that I'm usually covering, but nonetheless, wonderful machines that deserve a mention. So, right, this is 5901, which is going to be fictitiously preserved, I hasten to add. This is why I bought it. It's just going to be on my preserved line and stored there post-76, rather than staying at Derby and being cut up. So here we go, off she hops, out of view. Right, take care of yourselves, see you again soon now. Alright then, bye bye.